Welcome to Chinese History and Mythology.
Hello everyone, welcome back, and welcome to continue listening to Chinese History and Mythology. Last time, we talked about how the political situation in the state of Zhong shifted once again. Hua supported Prince Bao and placed him on the throne. He became Duke Wen of Zhong, but not long after that, Hua suddenly died. When the state of Jin heard that Zhong had killed its ruler and set up a new one, Zhao Dun immediately led troops to punish them. Zhong responded with heavy gifts and asked for peace. In the end, the Jin army accepted Duke Wen of Zhong as the legitimate ruler and withdrew. Duke Mu of Zhang saw clearly that Jin valued profit more than righteousness, so he turned to show goodwill toward Chu. The balance among the states began to change quietly. In the state of Qi, Duke Hui of Qi, whose personal name was Shang Ren, became notorious for his cruelty and indulgence. He dug up graves and insulted the dead. He even seized the wife of a minister by force. Eventually, at Shen Pond, he was killed in a joint plot by Bing, Chu, and Yanzi. Prince Yuan then took the throne and became Duke Hui of Qi. Once again, Qi changed its ruler. Meanwhile, in the state of Lu, tensions were building beneath the surface. After Duke Wen of Lu died, his legitimate son succeeded him, but his favored concubine, Jing Ying, secretly worked to clear the way for her own son, Prince Wo. She joined forces with powerful ministers Zhang Sui and Shu son de Chen and tried to use the support of Qi to replace the heir. Song, Qi, and Lu each entered a new phase. At the same time, the rivalry between Jin and Chu was quietly intensifying. Now, let us continue with today's story. Zhang Sui and Shusen Dei Chen arrived in the state of Qi. On the surface, they congratulated Duke Hui of Qi on his accession. At the same time, they thanked Qi for sending representatives to attend the funeral of Duke Wen of Lu. As the banquet began, Duke Hui of Qi casually asked, "Why is the new ruler of Lu named Evil? There are so many good names. Why choose such an unlucky one?" Zhang Sui answered directly, "Years ago, the grand historian made a divination and said he would not meet a good end or enjoy the state for long. So the former duke deliberately named him Evil, hoping to suppress that fate. In truth, the former duke favored his eldest son, Prince Wo. Wo is filial and virtuous, respectful to the ministers, and more popular with the people, but he was not born of the principal wife, so he was always held back." Duke Hui followed up, "If the one truly favored is also the eldest son, then by reason it would make sense to establish him." Shu Sun Dei Chen immediately added, "In Lu, the old rule is to establish the son of the principal wife first. Only if there is no such son does the eldest take the place. The former duke insisted on the rule and set up Evil. The people were not convinced. If your state is willing to help Lu replace him with a worthy ruler, we are ready to form a marriage alliance, pay tribute every year, and follow Qi's arrangements." Duke Hui was pleased. He said on the spot, "As long as you can control the situation in Lu, I will support you." Zhang Sui and Di Chen took the opportunity at once. They swore an oath with Duke Hui and confirmed the marriage agreement. After returning to Lu, they persuaded Ji-sun Xingfu. "The hegemony of Jin has passed. Qi will soon grow strong. Qi is willing to marry its daughter to Prince Wo. Such strong support cannot be lost." Xingfu grew suspicious. The current ruler of Qi is the uncle of the ruler of Lu. If Qi has a daughter to marry, why not give her to the legitimate heir? Why choose Prince Wo? Zhang Sui replied sharply, "In Qi, brothers have killed brothers for 4 generations. Why would he care about a nephew?" Duke Hui values Prince Wo's ability and wants him as a son-in-law. Xingfu felt a chill. He went home and sighed. The Dongmen clan is about to act. He quietly told Xu Zhang Pengsheng. Pengsheng did not take it seriously. The position is already settled. Who would dare to cause trouble? But Zhang Sui and Jing Ying had already prepared everything. They set a trap. Warriors hid inside the stable. Then a stable hand reported that a fine foal had been born. Jing Ying persuaded Prince Wo, Crown Prince Evil, and Prince Shi to go see it together. As soon as they arrived, the hidden men rushed out and beat Crown Prince Evil and Prince Shi to death with clubs. Zhang Sui then said, "If we do not remove Pengsheng, the matter is not finished." He sent a false order to lure Pengsheng into the palace. Pengsheng's retainer, Gongren Wu Ren, blocked him. "This is not an order. "It is a death trap. If you go, you will die." Peng Sheng answered, "If my lord commands, even death cannot be avoided." He tore his sleeve free and went anyway. He too was led to the stable and beaten to death. His body was covered with horse manure. Jing Ying then spread the story that the crown prince and Prince Shi had been kicked and bitten to death by a vicious horse. Zhang Shi rushed there in tears, but the bodies had already been moved. Ji's son Xing Fu knew who was responsible, but he did not dare to speak openly. He only scolded Zhang Sui. "You went too far. I cannot bear to hear it." Zhang Sui replied at once, "It was Jing Ying. I had nothing to do with it." Xing Fu asked, "What if Jin comes to punish us?" Zhang Sui answered coldly, "In Qi and Song, even when adult rulers were killed, no one truly punished them. Now 2 boys are dead. No one will come." Xing Fu wept over Crown Prince Evil's body. Zhang Sui rebuked him. "A minister should discuss great matters. What use are tears?" Xing Fu swallowed his grief. Shu Sun de Chen arrived and asked about Peng Sheng. Zhang Sui pretended not to know.
De Chen said, "My brother died for loyalty. There is nothing to hide." Zhang Sui then quietly revealed the burial place. Soon after, Zhang Sui announced, "We must establish a new ruler. Prince Wo is grown and capable. He is most suitable." No one dared object. Prince Wo was enthroned as Duke Wen of Lu. Peng Sheng was reburied and the matter was suppressed. Zhang Shi learned of her son's deaths and saw Prince Wo ascend the throne. She fainted from grief again and again. Zhang Sui, to please the new ruler, honored Jing Ying as duchess. Zhang Shi trembled with anger and prepared to return to Qi. Zhang Sui pretended to stop her, saying she would still be treated as the principal mother. Zhang Shi cursed him in the street and left in tears. People were moved and some even closed their shops. Later generations called her Ai Zhong, the mourning Zhong. In Qi, she wept with Duke Xiao's wife. Duke Hui disliked their crying and moved them away. Zhang Shi died there. Prince Shuqi, Duke Xuan's younger brother, refused office and salary. Even when Duke Xuan sent grain and cloth, he would not accept them. He said, "When I see my brother, I remember the brother who was killed." At night, he made shoes by lamplight and sold them at dawn. Duke Xuan sighed. He wishes to follow the path of Bo Yi and Shu Qi and left him alone. Shesuk lived in poverty and never accepted a single grain. On the first day of the new year, Zhang Sui urged Duke Xuan, "You must not delay the marriage with Qi." He went to Qi himself and brought back Lady Zhang as Duchess Xuan. He advised Duke Xuan to keep strengthening ties with Qi through tribute and alliances. Duke Xuan agreed and sent Ji's son Xing Fu to Qi. The 2 states met and confirmed their bond. Zhang Sui finally said, "Now we can sleep peacefully." Meanwhile, King Zhuan of Chu had been on the throne for 3 years, hunting and drinking, ignoring state affairs. He even posted a notice, "Whoever dares to remonstrate shall be executed." Shen Wu Wei entered the palace and spoke in a riddle. "There is a great bird with 5-colored feathers. It has stayed on a high hill in Chu for 3 years without flying or singing. What bird is this?" The king smiled and replied, "After 3 years without flying, it will soar into the sky. After 3 years without singing, it will shock the world with one cry." Yet he continued his pleasures. Then Su Kong rushed into the palace in tears. "I weep because I will soon die and because Chu will soon perish." The king demanded an explanation. Su Kong said boldly, "If I advise you, you will kill me. If I die, no one will dare advise you. You trade lasting greatness for short pleasure. If the first die, I die as a loyal man. If you fall, you will not even be remembered as a common man." He even asked for the king's sword to kill himself on the spot. At last, King Zhuang awakened. He dismissed the musicians, sent away the favored women, established Lady Fan as queen, and took charge of government. He reduced Dou Yuzhao's power and appointed Wei Jia, Pan Wang, and Kui Dong to balance authority. He led campaigns and won victories. Chu's strength rose greatly, and from that point on, King Zhuang began to nurture the ambition to dominate the central states. Now let us turn to the state of Jin, saying Shao Dun, the senior minister of Jin. Seeing Chu growing stronger by the day, he wanted to draw Qin into an alliance against Chu. Shao Chuan proposed an idea. "Qin has a long-time vassal state called Chong. Let me lead a smaller force to attack Chong. Qin will certainly come to rescue it. Then we can use the opportunity to negotiate and gain the upper hand." Shao Dun agreed and persuaded Duke Ling to send 300 chariots, appointing Shao Chuan to attack Chong. But Zhao Shou was uneasy. Whoever misses must drink a large cup. When someone shouted, "Watch the pellet," the shots flew. Some people lost half an ear. Others were struck in the shoulder, the streets filled with panic and cries. Duke Ling was not satisfied. He ordered his attendants to fire together. Pellets rained down. Heads were broken, eyes injured, teeth knocked out. Yet Duke Ling laughed loudly and said this was his happiest day. After that, the people dared not even pass near the peach garden. A saying spread in the city: "Do not look toward the tower, or flying pellets will come." You leave home smiling, but you return home in tears. Even worse, someone from the Zhou court presented a fierce dog called Ling Ao. Duke Ling often ordered the dog to bite people. If anyone made a mistake, he had the dog leap at their forehead. It would not release its bite unless the victim died. The dog keeper, called Ao Nu, was treated like a high minister. Duke Ling even stopped holding court in the main hall. He summoned officials to his sleeping chamber instead, with Ao Nu standing beside him holding the dog. Everyone trembled. The lords no longer wished to deal with Jin. Inside the state, resentment grew. Xiao Dun and others repeatedly advised Duke Ling to value worthy men, keep away from flatterers, govern diligently, and care for the people. Duke Ling refused. Instead, he began to suspect Xiao Dun. One day, Xiao Dun and Shi Hui were discussing matters inside the palace gate. They saw two attendants carrying out a bamboo cage. Xiao Dun grew suspicious and stopped them. They refused to speak. Xiao Dun pulled Shi Hui over to look. A human hand was sticking out. Inside was a dismembered body. Under pressure, the attendants confessed. The body was the cook. Duke Ling had demanded bear paw to accompany his wine. Impatient, he tasted it and thought it undercooked. He struck the cook dead with a bronze ladle, cut the body into pieces, and ordered it thrown away. If the attendants were slow, they too would be punished. Xiao Dun felt a chill. He said to Shi Hui, "The ruler treats human life like grass. The state will perish."
"We must advise him once more," Shahi replied. "If even we cannot move him, no one else will dare. I will go first, you follow after." Shahui entered. Duke Ling stopped him at once. "Do not speak. I know my fault and will correct it." Shahi bowed and said, "If you can change, it is the blessing of the state." He left and told Zhao Dun. Zhao Dun said, "If he truly repents, we will soon see it." But the next day, Duke Ling did not attend court. He went straight to the peach garden. Zhao Dun grew angry. "This is not repentance. Today I must speak." He blocked the garden gate. Duke Ling arrived and asked, "I did not summon you. Why are you here?" Xiao Dun bowed 3 times and spoke plainly. "A ruler without virtue turns his own pleasure into the people's pain. You set dogs on men, shoot pellets at them, and kill a cook for a small fault. Continue like this, and the people will rebel, the lords will turn away, and ruin will come. I beg you to return to court and change." Duke Ling covered his face with his sleeve in shame. "Withdraw for now. Let me finish today's amusement. Next time I will listen." Xiao Dun blocked the entrance with his body. Tuan Jia stepped in. "The Prime Minister means well, but the carriage is already here. If we turn back now, people will laugh. Please return today. Tomorrow we can discuss it." Duke Ling quickly agreed. Xiao Dun had no choice but to step aside. He rebuked Tuan Jia openly. "It is men like you who ruin a state." While Duke Ling was enjoying himself, Tuan Jia sighed. "Such happiness may soon end." Duke Ling asked why. Tuan Jia said, "Xiao Dun will come again tomorrow to remonstrate. How can you play freely?" Duke Ling grew angry. "How can a ruler be constrained by a minister? With that old man here, I am uneasy. How can we remove him?" Tuan Jia proposed a plan. "I have a retainer named Tu Ni. He is poor, and I have supported him. He will risk his life for me. Let him hide outside Zhao Dun's gate before dawn and assassinate him." Duke Ling was delighted. That night, Tuanjai summoned Chuni, gave him wine, and told him it was by the ruler's command. Chuni took a dagger and slipped into Zhao Dun's residence before dawn. He saw Zhao Dun already dressed in court robes, holding his tablet, waiting for morning. Chuni froze. He stepped outside and sighed. A man who does not neglect his duty even at home is the support of the people. To kill him is disloyal. To disobey the command is faithless. If I am both disloyal and faithless, how can I stand between heaven and earth? He shouted. I am Chuni. I would rather disobey than kill a loyal man. I will kill myself. Prime Minister, beware. Others may come. He shouted his head against a locust tree and died. Zhao Dun's gatekeeper reported it. His charioteer Timi Ming urged, "Do not attend court today. There may be further danger." Zhao Dun replied, "The ruler promised to hold court. If I do not go, it is discourteous. Life and death are fate." He ordered Chuni to be buried lightly by the tree and went to court. When Duke Ling saw Zhao Dun alive, he questioned Tuan Jia.
Tuanjia said Chuni had not returned and was found dead under a tree. Duke Ling panicked. Tuanjia suggested another plan. Invite Zhao Dun to drink in the palace. Hide soldiers behind the wall. After several cups, ask to see his sword. When he removes it, shout that he is drawing his sword to rebel. The soldiers will seize and kill him. Duke Ling agreed. The next day, after court, Duke Ling invited Zhao Dun inside for wine. Tuanjia led him in. Timi Ming followed but was stopped at the steps. After 3 rounds, Duke Ling asked to see Zhao Dun's sword. As Zhao Dun began to remove it, Timi Ming suddenly shouted, "A minister should not draw a sword before his ruler after drinking." Zhao Dun realized the trap and stood up. Timi Ming rushed forward and pulled him away. Tuanjia ordered the dog released. Ling Yao chased them.
At the palace gate, Timi Ming met the dog and twisted its neck, killing it. Duke Ling ordered the hidden soldiers out. Timi Ming shielded Zhao Dun and fought alone. Outnumbered, he was killed. Zhao Dun fled. Suddenly, someone ran toward him wildly. He braced himself. The man said, "Do not fear, I am here to save you." "Who are you?" Zhao Dun asked. "I am Ling Jie. Do you remember the starving man under the mulberry tree?" 5 years earlier, Zhao Dun had found Ling Jie faint from hunger. He gave him food. Ling Jie saved half for his mother. Zhao Dun praised his filial piety and gave him more. That place was later called Feeding the Hungry Slope. Now Ling Jie, remembering that kindness, broke from the soldiers and carried Zhao Dun out of the palace gate. Zhao Dun's attendants had scattered. Just then, Zhao Shouwa arrived with clan retainers in a carriage. Zhao Dun climbed aboard. He tried to bring Ling Jie along, but Ling Jie had vanished. Seeing the strength of the Zhao clan, the soldiers dared not pursue. Zhao Dun said to Zhao Shouwa, "We cannot think of our families now. We must go west, to the Dai state or to Chen. We must survive first." Father and son left through the west gate and fled toward the west.
Duke Ling of Jin failed to kill Zhao Dun. Once Zhao Dun left Jiang, Duke Ling became happier than ever, like a naughty child shaking off a strict teacher. He even moved with the palace ladies into the peach garden and stayed there day and night. While Zhao Dun and his son were fleeing west, they ran into Zhao Chuan, returning from a hunt in the western outskirts. Zhao Chuan stopped his carriage, learned what had happened, and said, "Uncle, do not leave the border yet. Stay at Shaoyang Mountain for a few days. Wait for my news, then decide where to go." Zhao Dun warned him, "Then I will stay at Shaoyang Mountain and wait. Whatever you do, be careful. Do not bring even greater trouble." Zhao Chuan returned to Jiang. Hearing that Duke Ling was living in the peach garden, he went there pretending to confess. He knelt and said, "Zhao Chuan is kin to the Prime Minister, and our clan is now stained with guilt. I dare not serve you anymore. Please remove me from office." Duke Ling believed him and even comforted him. "Zhao Dun kept slighting me. I could not endure it, so things became this way. It has nothing to do with you. Keep your post with peace of mind." Zhao Chuan then followed Duke Ling's mood and said what Duke Ling loved to hear. "As the ruler, you should enjoy every pleasure. The peach garden has high towers and fine grounds, but it lacks beauty and music. It is still not enough. Why not build sleeping chambers there and choose many young women from good families, then have music masters teach them singing and dance? Would that not be joyful?" Duke Ling lit up. "Who can go search for beauties?" Zhao Chuan immediately pushed Tuanjia forward. "Tuanjia can do it." Duke Ling at once gave an order. "All unmarried beauties under 20, inside and outside the city, had to be reported. It had to be done within 1 month." Zhao Chuan then added, "The peach garden's defenses are thin. Let me select 200 brave men from the army to strengthen the guard." Duke Ling agreed again. Zhao Chuan returned to the camp and chose 200 armored soldiers. The soldiers asked what this was for. Zhao Chuan deliberately spoke in a sharp way. "The ruler does not care about the people. He enjoys himself in the peach garden all day, yet he wants you to stand night guard there. You all have families. How long can you endure wind and dew like this?" The soldiers immediately complained. "Such a ruler without the way, why does he not die sooner? If the Prime Minister were still here, would things be like this?" Zhao Chuan made his meaning clear. "I have a matter to discuss with you." The soldiers answered together. "If you can save us from this suffering, our gratitude will be like being reborn," Zhao Chuan said. "The peach garden is not guarded like the deep palace. At the second watch, you force your way in and say you have come to ask for rewards. I will wave my sleeve as the signal. You kill the Duke of Jin. I will bring the Prime Minister back, set up a new ruler. What do you say? All answered, excellent. Zhao Chuan rewarded them with food and wine, placed them outside the peach garden, then went inside and asked Duke Ling to inspect the new guards. Duke Ling climbed the tower, saw they were all strong and fierce, and was so pleased that he kept Zhao Chuan to drink with him. When they drank until the second watch, loud shouts suddenly rose outside the garden. Duke Ling, startled, and asked what it was. Zhao Chuan acted calm. The night guards are driving off people wandering at night. I will go down and tell them not to disturb you. He ordered lamps lit and walked down slowly. At that moment, the 200 armored men had already broken in. Zhao Chuan first steadied them, then led them before the tower and went up to report. The soldiers heard that you are drinking. They wish to ask that you grant them the remaining rewards. They have no other intent. Duke Ling ordered attendants to bring wine to reward them, and he even leaned on the railing to watch, amused. Zhao Chuan shouted loudly, "The ruler rewards you in person. Hurry and receive your reward." As he spoke, he waved his sleeve. The armored men fixed their eyes on Duke Ling and surged up together. Duke Ling panicked and shouted at Zhao Chuan, "Why are they climbing the tower? Quickly order them back." Zhao Chuan replied even more coldly, "All the people miss the Prime Minister Zhao Dun and wish you to summon him back to the state." Before Duke Ling could answer, a halberd pierced his chest. He died on the tower at once. The attendants scattered and fled. Zhao Chuan immediately shouted to the soldiers, "The foolish ruler is removed. No one may kill again at random. Follow me to welcome the Prime Minister back to court." Because Duke Ling had killed without reason for years, his attendants had long feared him. Now that the ruler was assassinated, no one dared to step forward to save him. The people hated him even more. They treated his death as a great relief, and no one blamed Zhao Chuan. In earlier years, a comet omen had said that the rulers of Qi, Song, and Jin would all die in chaos, and now it seemed fulfilled. At this time, Tuanjia was outside the city searching for beauties. Hearing that the ruler of Jin has been killed, he was terrified. He knew it was most likely Zhao Chuan, yet he dared not speak. He slipped home quietly. Shi Hui and others rushed to the peach garden, found it empty, and guessed Zhao Chuan had gone to fetch Zhao Dun. They sealed the garden gate and waited. In less than a day, Zhao Dun returned by carriage to Zhong and went straight to the peach garden. The officials were already gathered at the gate. Zhao Dun threw himself over Duke Ling's body and wept loudly, so loud it could be heard outside the garden. The people then said, "The Prime Minister grieves so deeply. The Duke's death must be his own fault, not the Prime Minister's crime." Zhao Dun arranged the burial rites and buried Duke Ling at Ku. Then he summoned the ministers to choose a new ruler. Duke Ling had no son. Zhao Dun spoke heavily. When Duke Xiang died, I argued for an elder ruler. Because opinions differed, today's disaster followed. This time we cannot be careless. Shi Hui also said, "Having an elder ruler is a blessing to the altars of state." Zhao Dun proposed a candidate. Duke Wen still had one son. His mother once dreamed that a divine man with a black hand touched the child's hips, so he was named Haitun. He now serves at the Zhou court and is already of age. We should welcome him back and set him up as ruler. What do you say? No one dared disagree. All said it was proper. Zhao Zhan also wanted to ease Zhao Chuan's guilt for killing the ruler, so he sent Zhao Chuan to the Zhou court to bring Haitun back. He then returned to Jin, offered sacrifice in the ancestral temple, then took the throne. He became Duke Cheng of Jin. After Duke Cheng took the throne, he still let Zhao Dan govern. He also married his daughter to Zhao Shuo, and she was called Lady Zhuang. Zhao Dan then asked in person to resign, saying he wished to hand his position to 3 men of the Ji clan, Tong Kuo and Ying. Duke Chen replied, "All should be employed. Do not be overly modest." So Zhao Tong, Zhao Kuo, and Zhao Ying were all made great officers, and Zhao Chuan still held military authority. In private, Zhao Chuan warned Zhao Dan. Tuan Jia flattered the former ruler, and he holds hatred toward the Zhao clan. The Peach Garden affair will not sit well in his heart. If he is not removed, the Zhao clan will never be safe. Zhao Dan pressed the matter down. Others have not accused you of guilt, yet you first accused them of guilt. Our clan has served as officials for generations. We should work with him in harmony. Do not seek revenge. Zhao Chuan said no more. Tuan Zhao also restrained himself for the moment and treated the Zhao clan with caution. Yet Zhao Den still felt uneasy about the Peach Garden affair. He went to the archives and asked the grand historian Dong Hu to show him the records. Dong Hu presented the bamboo slips. On them it was written clearly, in autumn, on the day Yechu of the 7th month, Zhao Den killed his ruler Yi Gao at the Peach Garden. Zhao Den was shocked. The grand historian wrote wrong. At that time I was fleeing outside, more than 200 li from Jiang. How could I kill the ruler? Are you not framing me? Dong Hu answered firmly. You were the prime minister. You fled but did not leave the border. When you returned, you did not punish the assassin. If you say you were not the planner, who will believe it? Zhao Den asked if it could be changed. Dong Hu cut him off. The true record is here. My head may be cut off, but the slips cannot be altered. Zhao Den sighed deeply. A historian's authority is greater than the prime minister's. If I had crossed the border then, perhaps I would not carry this curse for 10,000 generations. From then on, as he assisted Duke Chen, he became even more cautious. Zhao Chen, relying on his merit, asked to be made chief minister. Zhao Dong feared public opinion and refused. Zhao Chuan's resentment knotted in his heart, and he died from a festering abscess on his back. His son Zhao Zhang came to ask to inherit the post. Zhao Dong only said, "When you have earned the merit, the position will not be hard to obtain." Then the focus moved to the Zhou court and Shu. King Kuang of Zhou died, and his younger brother Yu took the throne as King Ding of Zhou. In King Ding's first year, King Zhuang of Chu marched to attack the Luhun Rong. He crossed the Luo River and displayed his troops on Zhou territory, intending to use force to intimidate the Son of Heaven. King Ding sent Wang Sen men to greet him. King Zhuang spoke at once. He asked about the weight of the 9 tripod cauldrons. Wang Sen men pressed the words back. The 3 dynasties passed the realm by virtue, not by tripods. If a ruler has virtue, a small tripod is still heavy. If a ruler lacks virtue, a large tripod is still light. Heaven's mandate is already set. The tripods cannot be questioned. King Zhuang felt ashamed and withdrew. From then on, he dared not again harbor thoughts of looking toward Zhou. Now back to Chu. The chief minister, Dou Yuzhao, after King Zhuang had cut down his power, held deep hatred. When King Zhuang campaigned against the Luhunrong, Dou Yuzhao finally raised troops in rebellion. He killed Dao Qi and killed the commander Wei Jia. Wei Jia's son Ao fled with his mother to Menza. Dou Yuzhao camped at Jingye intending to cut off King Zhuang's road of return. When King Zhuang heard of the internal revolt, he hurried back. Near Zhangxi, Dou Yuzhao's army looked fierce and well-formed. Dou Yuzhao himself drew his bow and carried his halberd, riding within the ranks. Zhu soldiers who saw him all felt fear. King Zhuang first spoke of loyalty and old merit. The Dou clan has served with merit for generations. Ning Bofen wronged me, yet I will not wrong Bofen. He sent Su Kong to urge surrender, promising pardon and even offering a royal son as hostage. Dou Yuzhao blocked it with one line. I did not come to beg pardon. If you can fight, then come. The armies clashed. Dou Yuzhao's archery was terrifying. One arrow struck into King Zhuang's drum frame. King Zhuang was so shocked that he dropped the drumstick. He had to order a retreat. Qiu Chu suffered many losses and withdrew to camp at Huanghu. In the camp, soldiers all discussed how Dou, the chief minister's divine arrows, cannot be met. King Zhuang then made up words to steady morale. He said those divine arrows were old weapons of the ancestral temple that Dou Yuzhao had stolen, and today he had already shot them all. Tomorrow we will surely break the rebels. Only then did the army calm. King Zhuang then deliberately withdrew toward the state of Sui and spread word that he would unite the Han River states to punish the Dou clan. Su Kong urgently argued this was a mistake, but Prince Si saw through it. This is the king's plan. He and Prince Yingqi went to see King Zhuang in the night. King Zhuang said it plainly. Dou Yuzhao is fierce. We must take him by stratagem, not by force. The 2 princes accepted the order and went to arrange it. At cockcrow the next day, King Zhuang truly withdrew. Dou Yuzhao did not doubt and chased wildly. chasing more than 200 li in one day and one night until he reached King He Bridge. On the north side of the bridge, Chu soldiers had set up cooking pots. When the pursuers arrived, the Chu soldiers abandoned the pots and fled. Dou Yujiao ordered, "Catch King Zhuang first, then eat breakfast." The soldiers were hungry and exhausted, yet they still chased. Pan Ang deliberately blocked him with one sentence. "If you want to capture the king, why are you not chasing faster?" Dou Yujiao believed him, left Pan Ang behind, and continued. After another 60 li, they reached Green Mountain and met the Chu general Zhou Fuji. Dou Yujiao asked where King Zhuang was. Yang Fuji replied, "He has not arrived yet." Dou Yujiao even promised, "If you help me watch King Zhuang, when I win, I will share Chu with you." Yang Fuji then urged him, "Your troops are exhausted and starving. Eat first, then fight." Dou Yujiao listened and ordered the army to stop and cook. Before the food was ready, Prince Xi and Prince Yingqi's ambush forces struck. Dou Yujiao could not form a fight and fled south back toward Qinghe Bridge, only to find the bridge had been dismantled. His retreat was cut off. In truth, King Zhuang had personally hidden on both sides of the bridge. When Dou Yujiao troops crossed, he ordered the bridge broken. Dou Yujiao was shocked and looked for a shallow ford. At that moment, a cannon sounded from the far bank. Chu troops shouted, "Le Bo is here. Rebel Yujiao dismount and surrender." Dou Yujiao shot arrows across the river. Then, in Le Bo's ranks, a young soldier named Yang Youji, also called Yang Shu, stepped forward. He asked to fight and to compare archery with Dou Yujiao. He shouted at the river crossing, "The river is so wide, how can arrows reach? I hear you are a master archer, let us compete." We stand by the bridge buttress and each shoots 3 arrows. Life and death decide it. Dou Yujiao asked who he was. He answered, "A small soldier under Le Bo." Dou Yujiao despised him and said, "Let me shoot 3 arrows first." Yang Yuji replied even harder, "Do not say 3 arrows. I do not fear even 100. If you dodge, you are no hero." Dou Yujiao shot the first arrow. Yang Yuji flicked it aside with his bow, and it fell into the water. He urged, "Shoot again." The second arrow came. Yang Yuji crouched and let it pass. Dou Yujiao cursed him for breaking the agreement. Yang Yuji said, "You have 1 arrow left. I will not dodge now. If you still miss, it will be my turn." Dou Yujiao believed he would hit for sure. The third arrow flew straight. Yang Yuji stood still and opened his mouth, biting the arrowhead in mid-flight. All 3 arrows were wasted. Dou Yujiao's heart wavered, yet he held face and said, "I will let you shoot 3 arrows. If you miss, I will shoot again." Yang Yuji laughed. "Needing 3 arrows to hit a man is for a beginner. I only need 1 arrow to take your life." Dou Yujiao did not believe it, but he still forced himself to allow it. Yang Yuji first pretended to draw and not release. Dou Yujiao thought the arrow was coming and dodged left. Yang Yuji exposed him on the spot. "My arrow is still in my hand. Why did you dodge? You said you would not dodge." He then pretended again, letting the bowstring sound. Dou Yujiao dodged right again. Yang Yuji seized that movement and released his arrow at once. Dou Yujiao had no time to evade. The arrow pierced straight into his head, and he died on the spot. The Dou family army had long been exhausted and starving. The moment they saw their commander, Dou Yujiao, shot dead by a single arrow, their morale collapsed on the spot. The soldiers scattered in all directions, each running for his life. Prince Xi and Prince Yingqi split their forces and chased them down from 2 sides. The killing was fierce. Bodies piled up like hills, and the river ran red with blood. Dou Yujiao's son, Dou Benhuang, fled desperately to the state of Jin. The Marquis of Jin took him in, granted him the title of Grand Officer, and gave him the land of Miao as his fief. From then on, he changed his name to Miao Benhuang. On the side of King Zhong of Chu, it was a complete victory. He immediately ordered the army to return. The captives were driven ahead of the troops and executed on the spot along the way. When they returned to the capital, Ying, the king went even further. The entire Dou clan, regardless of age, was put to death. Yet one branch of the Dou family was not implicated. Qi Huang, the son of Dou Ban, had been serving as Yin Yin.
Earlier, King Zhong had sent him to Qi and Qin to deliver betrothal gifts. On his way back, when he reached the state of Song, he heard that Yu Zhao had rebelled. His attendants were terrified and urged him not to return to Ying. "If you go back, you will surely die," Qi Huang answered firmly. "The ruler is like heaven's mandate. How can I hide?" He went straight back to Ying. As soon as he entered the city, he went to the official in charge of justice to confess his guilt. He spoke without holding back. "My grandfather Zhou once said that Yu Zhao had the look of rebellion and would bring ruin to the clan. Before he died, he told my father to flee to another state. But my father remembered the king's kindness and could not bear to leave. In the end, he was killed by Yu Zhao. Today it has all come true. I am from a traitor's clan, and I also disobeyed my grandfather's last words. If I die, I deserve it. How could I dare to run?" After hearing this, King Zhuang sighed in admiration. Ziwan was truly a remarkable man, and he rendered great service to Chu. How could I let his line end? He pardoned Qi Huang, restored his office, and praised him as a loyal man who would rather die than flee. He also changed his name to Da Xing, meaning one who should have died but lived. The archer Yang Yuji had decided the battle with a single arrow. King Zhuang rewarded him heavily and placed him among the royal guard as a general, appointing him as the right charioteer. With no one immediately suitable for the post of chief minister, the king asked Shen Yinyu to manage state affairs for the time being. King Zhuang then held a grand banquet at Jiantai. Even his consorts were seated together with the officials. He spoke openly. "For 6 years I have not played bells and drums. Today the rebellion is crushed and the borders are at peace. I want to enjoy one full day with you all. This will be called the Banquet of Peace. Civil and military officials alike must attend and enjoy themselves." The ministers thanked him and took their seats. They drank until sunset and still did not leave. The king ordered candles to be lit and continued drinking. He had his favorite consort, Lady Su, go around pouring wine for each grand officer. Everyone stood and drained their cups in one gulp. Then a strange wind rose and blew out all the candles. In the darkness, someone saw Lady Su's beauty and, taking advantage of the confusion, reached out and grabbed her sleeve. She pulled her sleeve back with one hand and with the other seized the tassel of the man's hat. She tore it off. Frightened, the man let go at once. Holding the broken tassel, Lady Su hurried to King Zhong and whispered her complaint. "Someone behaved improperly when the lights went out and grabbed my sleeve. I tore off his hat tassel. If you relight the candles, we can find out who it is." King Zhong reacted at once. "Do not light the candles yet. Tonight, this banquet is meant for full enjoyment. Everyone, remove your hat tassels before you continue drinking. Anyone who keeps his tassel is not truly enjoying himself." Hearing this, all the officials removed their tassels together. Only then did the king order the candles relit. The culprit could no longer be identified. After the banquet, Lady Su was still upset and spoke again in the palace. How can such disrespect go unpunished? The king smiled and explained, "You do not understand. Tonight the purpose was to let the ministers enjoy themselves. After drinking, people may act recklessly. If I had investigated and punished him, it would have shown your chastity, but it would have chilled the hearts of the ministers." Only then did Lady Su accept it. Later generations called this banquet the meeting of the severed tassels. One night, after discussing state affairs with Yu Qiu until late, King Zhuang returned to the palace. Lady Fan asked about Yu Qiu's character. The king said Yu Qiu was capable and worthy. Lady Fan answered sharply, "Not necessarily. A minister serving his ruler is like a concubine serving her husband. I manage the inner palace. Whenever I find a beautiful woman, I present her to you. Yu Qiu speaks with you until midnight, yet he has not recommended a single worthy man. One person's wisdom is limited, but the talent of Qu is boundless. If he wishes to use himself alone to block all others, how can that be called virtue?" The king took her words to heart. The next day he repeated them to Yu Qiu. Yu Qiu immediately admitted his fault and said he would seek out worthy men at once. Du Shen recommended Wei Ao, son of Wei Jia. He said Wei Ao had withdrawn into seclusion in Mengzi during the turmoil and possessed the talent of a future general or minister.
King Zhong recalled Bu Ying was a wise man. His son cannot be ordinary. He immediately ordered Yu Qiu and Dou Xing to go to Menzia and invite him. Wei Ao was farming in Menzia with his mother. Once, while working in the fields, he saw a two-headed snake. He cried out in fear, "Whoever sees it will die." Then he thought again, "If I die, so be it. But I cannot let it harm others." He killed the snake and buried it. When he went home, he wept and told his mother. She said, "With such kindness, heaven will surely protect you." When Yu Qiu came to summon him, his mother smiled and said, "This is the blessing from burying the snake." After entering court, Wei Ao spoke with King Zhuang for an entire day. The king concluded, "Among all the ministers of Chu, none surpasses you." He appointed him chief minister on the spot. Wei Ao tried repeatedly to refuse, saying he came from the fields and feared he could not command respect. The king insisted, and he finally accepted. People later called him Sang Shuao. After taking office, Sang Shuao first fixed strict military and administrative rules. Marching orders, camp arrangements, formation of front and rear units, coordination of the central army, elite rear guards, rotation of the royal guard, patrols by left and right divisions at fixed times. Everything was set into clear regulations. He appointed Yu Qiu to command the central army, Prince Yingji the left army, Prince Si the right army, Yang Youji the right division, and Ku Dang the left division. They were inspected regularly. Discipline was so strict that the common people were hardly disturbed. He also repaired irrigation works and built chapel. Vast fields were watered, and the people prospered. The common people were convinced, and the ministers who once doubted him came to respect him. They said, "Chu is fortunate. This is Z1 reborn." The scene shifts to the state of Zheng. Duke Mu of Zheng, named Lan, died. The Kuairang Pensi succeeded him and became Duke Ling of Jing. Jing wavered constantly between Jin and Chu. King Zhuang of Chu and Sang Shuao discussed attacking Jing. At that moment, news arrived that Duke Ling had been killed by Prince Guisheng. King Zhuang said at once, "Then I have even more reason to attack Jing." On Jing's side, Prince Song and Prince Guisheng had arranged to see Duke Ling. On the way, Prince Song's index finger suddenly began to twitch. He said proudly, "Whenever this finger twitches, I taste some rare delicacy. In the past, when I was on missions, I ate stoneflower fish, swan, and special oranges, and each time it proved true. Today will be no different." As they approached the palace gate, they heard attendants urgently summoning the cook. Asking around, they learned someone had presented a giant soft-shelled turtle. Duke Ling planned to cook it and reward the ministers. Prince Song laughed. "How could my finger not twitch?" Inside the hall, they saw how huge the turtle was. They exchanged smiles, and the smile still lingered as they bowed. The Duke asked why they were laughing. Guisheng explained about the twitching finger. The Duke joked coldly, "Whether it is true or not depends on me." When the banquet began, Duke Ling ordered the turtle soup distributed, but he deliberately left out one portion. In the end, only one cauldron remained, and he announced publicly, "This is for Zijia." So Guisheng received some, but Prince Song did not. The Duke mocked him. "I have rewarded all the ministers except you. It seems you were not meant to eat it. Is your finger still accurate?" Prince Song burned with humiliation. He strode to the cauldron, thrust his hand in, grabbed turtle meat, and said, "I have tasted it already. How is my finger not accurate?" Then he left in anger. The Duke was furious, throwing down his chopsticks and calling him rude. Guisheng knelt and tried to smooth things over, saying Prince Song meant it playfully out of closeness. The matter was barely contained. Guisheng later went to Prince Song's house and urged him to apologize the next day. Prince Song retorted, "He insulted me first. And he blames me?" The next day in court, Guisheng apologized on Song's behalf. The Duke answered even more sharply, "If I offended him, why does he fear me?" Then he brushed his sleeves and left. Prince Song then spoke harshly to Guisheng. "If the ruler intends to kill me, I will strike first." Guisheng at first covered his ears and refused to listen, but Prince Song threatened him. "If you are not with me, I will see you die before me." He argued that the ruler was without virtue and proposed setting up Ziliang as ruler and allying with Jin. In the end, Guisheng was afraid. He only said, "Do what you will."
I will not reveal it. Prince Zhong took advantage of the autumn sacrifice when the Duke was staying in the fasting palace. He bribed attendants heavily, entered at night, and suffocated Duke Ling with earth-filled bags. Then he announced that the Duke had died suddenly in his sleep. Guixing knew the truth but dared not speak. Later historians recorded it as Prince Guixing of Jing killing his ruler, placing the blame on him. The reason given was that he held high office yet feared gossip and allowed rebellion. The greater the position, the heavier the responsibility. It became a warning in later generations. After Duke Ling's death, Guisheng and Prince Song wanted to enthrone Prince Kuji. Kuji was terrified and refused. The late ruler has 8 other sons. If you choose virtue, I have none. If you choose seniority, Prince Jian stands before me. I would rather die than violate ancestral order. He instead recommended Prince Zhang, who became Duke Shang of Jing. Duke Shang worried that his brothers might form factions and wanted to drive them away. Kuji persuaded him. Brothers are like branches and leaves. Cut them all away and the trunk is exposed and withers quickly. If the ruler cannot tolerate others, I will leave as well. I would have no face to meet our father. Duke Xiang accepted this advice and granted all 11 younger brothers the rank of Grand Officer, allowing them to share governance. Prince Song later sent an envoy to Jin to seek support. Afterward, King Zhong of Chu sent troops against Zhang in the name of avenging Duke Ling. Jin sent Sun Linfu to rescue Zhang. Chu then turned to attack Chen. Duke Shang of Zhang met Duke Chang of Jin in alliance. Later, Shao Dun died, and Duke Chang of Jin fell ill and died during a campaign. The new ruler, Duke Jing of Jing, took the throne. King Zhong again personally led troops against Jing. Jing's Shiki rescued Jing and defeated the Qi army. The people of Jing rejoiced, but only Ziliang Kuji remained worried. He said plainly, Jing's victory over Qi was accidental. The anger of Qi will sooner or later fall upon Zheng. We will soon see Qi's soldiers at our borders again. Sure enough, the next year King Zhong attacked Zheng once more. Zheng used the opportunity to settle old accounts. After Guisheng died, Kuji pursued the matter of the turtle soup incident. Prince Song was executed, his body exposed, his coffin destroyed, and his clan expelled. Zheng sent envoys to Chu to apologize, saying the rebellious ministers had been punished and expressing willingness to bring the Marquis of Chen to an alliance meeting. King Zhuang agreed and prepared to meet at Chenling, also inviting the Marquis of Chen. But when the Yingwei returned, he reported that the Marquis of Chen had already been killed by Xia Zhengshu, and Chen was in chaos. Duke Ling of Chen was named Pingguo. He was the son of Duke Gong of Chen. After taking the throne, one word summed him up: play. He was frivolous, lazy, lacking authority. He loved wine and women and paid no attention to state affairs at all. The 2 men he favored most were Kong Ning and Yi Xingfu. When the 3 of them were together, they spent their days joking, drinking, and chasing pleasure, with no regard for rules or decorum. In court, however, there was one tough and upright official, Zi Yi. He spoke bluntly and feared no one. Duke Ling and the 2 favorites were wary of him. In Chen, there was also a grand officer named Xia Yushu. His family had held the post of Minister of War for generations. He lived in Zulin. He married a daughter of Duke Mu of Zheng, known as Lady Xia. Lady Xia was famous for her beauty and for her allure. When she was young, she had an affair with Prince Man of Zheng. Later, she married Xia Yushu and gave birth to a son, Zheng Shu. When Zheng Shu was 12, Xia Yushu died. Lady Xia left her son in the city to study and returned to live alone in Zulin. Kong Ning and Yi Xingfu had long coveted her. Lady Xia had a maid named Hewa, clever and skilled at arranging meetings, who often helped her attract men. Kong Ning first took Zheng Shu hunting and used the chance to stay at Zulin. He bribed Hewa with jewelry and, through her, gained access to Lady Xia. More boldly still, he stole Lady Xia's embroidered trousers and wore them out, showing them off in front of Yi Xingfu. Yi Xingfu burned with jealousy and also spent heavily to win over Hewa. Lady Xia herself had noticed Yi Xingfu and liked his build. She had Hewa arrange a meeting. To please her, Yi Xingfu even sought out aphrodisiacs.
Lady Xia, in truth, favored Ye Xingfu more. Ye Xingfu wanted a token as well. He said to her, "You gave silk trousers to Kong. I would like something too." Lady Xia laughed. "He stole those."
"I did not give them." Then she leaned close and whispered that even in the same bed, closeness differs. She removed a green silk short jacket she was wearing and handed it to him. From then on, Ye Xingfu visited more often, while Kong Ning was neglected. Ye Xingfu even showed the jacket to Kong Ning. When Kong asked Hihua and learned Lady Xia favored Ye, his jealousy flared. Kong Ning then made a calculating move. Duke Ling was already fond of women and had long heard of Lady Xia's beauty. Kong thought, better to draw the Duke in. The Duke would owe him a favor, and since the Duke had a strong body odor, Lady Xia would likely dislike it. Kong could then act as an attentive helper and perhaps drive a wedge between her and Ye Xingfu. He went to see the Duke and praised Lady Xia as unmatched under heaven. The Duke tried to dismiss it. She must be nearly 40. Has her charm not faded? Kong assured him she was skilled in the arts of love and looked as youthful as a girl of 17 or 18. The Duke's face flushed. "How can I meet her? I will reward you." Kong answered smoothly. "She lives in Julin, a lovely place of bamboo and trees. If your grace announces a visit tomorrow, she will certainly prepare a banquet. Her maid Hihua is sensible. I will pass along a message. It will succeed." The Duke smiled widely. "I rely on you." The next day the Duke went out in plain clothes, bringing only Kong Ning. Kong first sent word to Lady Xia and informed Hihua. Lady Xia made all preparations without hesitation. The Duke claimed he was merely passing by, though his mind was fixed on one thing. After strolling briefly, he headed straight to her residence. Lady Xia received him in formal attire. Her voice was as pleasant as a songbird. At the sight of her, the Duke was utterly captivated. He said he had come by chance. She replied she had prepared simple wine and dishes. He asked to see the garden, and she led him through the backgrounds, past high pavilions and corridors leading to the inner chambers. When the banquet was set, Lady Xia raised her cup to begin. The Duke insisted she sit beside him, with Kong Ning on his right and Lady Xia on his left. "Today we set aside ruler and subject. Let us enjoy ourselves freely." They drank more and more. At sunset, candles were lit. The Duke grew drunk and fell asleep. Kong Ning whispered to Lady Xia, "The Duke came for you. Do not refuse him." She only smiled. Kong went out to settle the attendants and then rested himself. Lady Xia bathed and changed clothes, leaving Hihua to attend the Duke. When the Duke awoke, he asked who was there. Hihua knelt and offered sober soup. He teased her, asking if she could also arrange a match. She feigned innocence, but he spoke plainly, saying his heart was unsettled because of her mistress, and promised rich reward. Hihua led him to the inner room. Lady Xia was waiting under lamplight. Once he entered, Hihua removed the lamp, leaving them alone. Before dawn, the Duke asked her whether she held him in her heart. Lady Xia answered openly that since her husband's death she had been with others, but now that she served the ruler she would end those ties. The Duke, rather than displeased, asked who those others were. She named Kong Ning and Ye Xingfu. The Duke laughed. No wonder Kong praised her so highly. He assured her he was grateful to Kong and would visit often, without interfering in her other affairs. She replied that his frequent visits would pose no difficulty. Before he left, Lady Xia removed her close-fitting undershirt and gave it to him, saying that when he saw it he would think of her. Hihua escorted him back. At dawn he ate breakfast, and Kong Ning drove him back to court. When ministers heard the ruler had spent the night outside, they gathered, but he dismissed court and returned to the palace. Ye Xingfu seized Kong Ning and demanded to know where they had stayed. Kong could not hide it and told him. Yi fumed that such a matter had been kept from him. Kong laughed and said the Duke was pleased, and next time Ye could earn favor himself. At court the next day, the Duke publicly thanked Kong for the introduction. He then turned to Yi and asked why he had not spoken of such pleasure earlier. Kong and Yi both denied it. The Duke revealed that Lady Xia herself had told him. Kong tried to justify it with twisted logic, saying that when a ruler eats delicacies, his ministers taste them first, and when a father eats, his sons taste first. If it were not good, how could they present it to their lord? The Duke retorted that even bear's paw could be tasted first by him. Then the Duke went further. He opened his robe and boasted that she had given him a gift. Kong said he had one as well and revealed the silk trousers. Ye Xingfu also displayed the green silk jacket.
The Duke laughed loudly. "The three of us all have proof. Another day we shall all go to Zhulen together." These words spread beyond the court gate and finally enraged Ji Yi. Grinding his teeth, he cursed, "The court is a place of law and order. If you act like this, the ruin of Chen is at hand." He adjusted his formal robes, took up his tablet, and strode straight toward the court hall, prepared to remonstrate face to face. Duke Ling of Chen, whose personal name was Pinggu, was shot dead by Xia Zingshu in the royal stables. Seeing the situation turn against them, Kong Ning and Yi Xingfu crawled out through a dog hole and fled to the state of Chu. Zheng Shu entered the city and announced to the public that Duke Ling had died suddenly after drinking. He then set up the Crown Prince Wu as ruler, who became Duke Cheng of Chen. Duke Cheng hated him in his heart, but he had neither troops nor authority, so he endured in silence. Zheng Shu feared retaliation from other states, so she was found in the garden. She knelt and said, "My state is ruined, my family destroyed, my life rests in your majesty's hands. I am willing to serve as a slave." Seeing her beauty, the king was moved. "Though my harem is full, none equals her. I wish to take her. What do you say?" Kuo Wu immediately advised against it. "Your majesty came to punish rebellion, not to seek women. If you begin with righteousness and end with indulgence, it will not be fitting." The king nodded. "You are right. I will not take her. If I look again, I may lose control." He ordered the walls broken so she could leave. Prince Ce, however, was tempted and knelt to request her. Kuo Wu warned again, saying she had brought misfortune wherever she went. King Zhong hesitated. Prince Ce withdrew reluctantly and even mocked Kuo Wu, asking if he wanted her himself. Kuo Wu denied it, though he felt regret inside. The king said, "When something has no master, everyone competes for it. Lian Yin Zhanglao is widowed. I will grant her to him as wife." Thus Lady Xia was given to Zhanglao. King Zhuang returned to the capital of Chen and ordered Zheng Shu taken to the Li Gate, where he was torn apart by chariots. The chaos in Chen seemed settled, but the story of Lady Xia was far from over. After killing Zheng Shu, King Zhuang initially absorbed Chen into Chu, appointing Prince Ying Qi as Duke of Chen to guard it, and taking the Chen ministers such as Yuan Po back to Ying. However, after returning to Chu, only Shen Shuxi, who had just come back from a mission to Qi, did not come to congratulate him. The king was displeased and sent for him. "All the lords praise me for punishing rebellion. Why do you not say a word? Have I done wrong?" Shen Shuxi asked to speak in person and began with a story. "Have you heard of cutting across a field and seizing an ox? A man led his ox across another's field and trampled the seedlings. The field owner, in anger, seized the ox. How would your majesty judge this case?" The king replied, "Trampling seedlings is a minor fault. Seizing the ox is excessive. The man leading the ox should be reproached and the ox returned." Shen Shuxi continued at once, "Then why does your majesty not see the case of Chen? Shen Shu deserved death, but Chen did not deserve extinction. You have killed the rebel. To take their land is like seizing the ox. Is that worthy of celebration?" The king stamped his foot. "You are right. I should return the ox." He summoned Yuan Po and asked where the ruler of Chen was. Yuan Po wept and said Duke Cheng was still in Jin. The king declared, "I will restore Chen. Bring your ruler back. Chen must remain loyal to Chu." He also told Kong Ning and Yi Xingfu to return and assist their ruler. Yuan Po dared not say that Kong and Yi were themselves the root of trouble. He could only thank the king. Once beyond Chu's borders, he encountered Duke Cheng returning from Jin, having heard rumors that Chen was lost and intending to seek audience with Chu. Yuan Po explained the king's decision. They returned together. Prince Ying Qi, guarding Chen, received orders to hand over authority and return to Chu. This became King Zhuang's first great act of correcting his mistake. After Chen was restored, retribution followed. Kong Ning soon began seeing ghosts in daylight, claiming Zheng Shu had come to demand his life. He went mad and drowned himself. Yi Xingfu later dreamed that Duke Ling, Kong Ning, and Zheng Shu dragged him before the underworld court. He awoke with a violent illness and died. Prince Ying Qi returned to Chu. The king said, "Chen has been restored. I must reward you." Ying Qi requested the territory of Shen and Lu. The king was about to agree, but Kuo Wu stopped him, saying it was a northern strategic region against Jin and could not be granted. The king withheld it. Later, when Shen Shuxi retired, the king instead granted Kuo Wu the title of Duke of Shen. Ying Qi bore a grudge against Kuo Wu from then on. King Zhuang then turned his attention to Jin. Chen had submitted to Chu, but Zheng still aligned with Jin, Sun Shuo advised that attacking Jin would surely draw Jin's rescue, requiring full mobilization.
The king mobilized the armies and advanced toward Shenyang, appointing Shang Lao as vanguard. The fierce general Tang Jiao requested to lead 100 men ahead to clear the way, and was permitted. Tang Jiao fought fiercely and met little resistance. The king praised Shang Lao, who credited Tang Jiao instead. The king wished to reward Tang Jiao, but Tang Jiao said he had already received great favor. Pressed for explanation, he confessed that he had been the man who pulled Lady Su's sleeve at the banquet of the severed tassels. If you had pursued the matter that night, I would have died. Today, I repay you with my life. The king sighed. Had I lit the candles and seized the culprit, how would I have your loyalty now? He ordered his merit recorded for later reward. Yet Tang Jiao fled that very night, saying he dared not remain once his crime was revealed. The king admired his frankness. Chu besieged Zheng for 90 days. The assault was severe, and the city walls began to collapse. Hearing the cries of the people, the king relented and withdrew 10 li. Prince Yingqi asked why he retreated when victory was near. The king answered that he wished to show both might and benevolence, to see if Zheng would surrender. Duke Shang of Zheng mistook the withdrawal for the arrival of Jin's reinforcements and reinforced the city. Seeing no surrender, the king pressed the siege for 3 more months. At last, the Chu general Lebo entered first through Huang Gate and opened the city. The king strictly forbade looting. Duke Shang came bare-shouldered, leading a sheep in surrender, placing life and death in the king's hands. Prince Yingqi urged extermination, but the king recalled Shen Shushi's analogy and refused. He withdrew 30 li, allowed Duke Shang to enter camp to apologize and form alliance, and took his brother Prince Kuji as hostage. As the Chu army moved north, scouts reported that Jin had appointed Zun Linfu as commander and Xiang Gu as deputy, advancing with 600 chariots and already crossing the river. King Zhuang asked whether to fight or withdraw. Shan Shuao advised withdrawal. Wu Shen argued that retreat would make Zheng despise Chu. The two argued fiercely. The king ordered each general to write fight or retreat in his palm. Only 4 chose retreat. The rest chose fight. The king declared retreat correct and ordered withdrawal. Yet that night, Wu Shen returned, arguing that retreat would hand victory to Jin and lose Zheng. He analyzed the Jin command, saying their generals were divided and victory was possible. The king, stirred, declared he would not be shamed before Jin and ordered the army to turn north at once, advancing to Guancheng to await battle. In the 3rd year of Duke Jing of Jin's reign, he heard that King Zhuang of Chu had personally led troops against Zheng. He decided to send an army to rescue it. Sun Linfu was appointed supreme commander of the Central Army, with Shan Gu as his deputy. Shai Hui, Shi Kei, Zhao Shou, and Lan Shu were assigned as commanders of the upper and lower armies. Heavy ministers such as Han Ju, Zhao Kuo, and Zhao Yingqi were attached to the force. Altogether, they mustered 600 chariots and set out from Zhong in the 6th month. When the army reached the banks of the Yellow River, scouts returned with news. Zheng, having long awaited help that never came, had already surrendered to Chu. The Chu army was preparing to withdraw. Sun Linfu summoned his generals for discussion. Shai Hui said, Zheng has already submitted to Chu. If we fight now, we lack just cause. It would be better to withdraw. Linfu was about to order a retreat when Shan Gu stepped forward and shouted, Impossible! Jin is the leader of the alliance states. We exist to support those in danger. Zheng turned to Chu only because we did not arrive in time. If we defeat Chu now, Zheng will surely return to Jin. If we retreat, what smaller state will rely on us? If the commander will not advance, I will go alone. Linfu tried to restrain him. The king of Chu commands in person. His troops are strong and his generals fierce. If you cross with only part of the army, you will only die in vain. Shangu replied angrily, Better to die in battle than live branded a coward. With that, he led his troops across the river. The brothers Zhao Tong and Zhao Kuo followed him. Hanju urgently said to Sun Linfu, Jizi has already crossed. If he is defeated, the blame will fall on you. Linfu wavered. Hanju proposed, Better that the whole army advance together. If we win, we share the merit. If we lose, we share the responsibility. Linfu had no choice but to order the entire force across. They camped between Ao and Hao. Duke Shang of Zheng, hearing that Jin's army was large and his generals capable, feared future reckoning.
He sent Huang Shu to the Jin camp, saying, Zheng's submission to Chu was only temporary. If Jin attacks Chu, we will strike from behind. Shen Gu declared, then let this be the decisive battle. Luan Shu cautioned, Zheng shifts allegiance easily. It cannot be trusted. But Zhao Tong and Zhao Kuo privately agreed with Shen Gu to engage. At the same time, Zheng secretly sent envoys to the Chu camp, urging King Zhuang to fight Jin as well. Zheng sought to place its bets on both sides. Sun Shu'ao advised King Zhuang, Jin has no real desire to fight. Better to propose peace first. If they refuse, then battle. The fault will lie with them. The king agreed and sent Kai Juju to the Jin camp to negotiate. Shen Linfu was delighted, but Shanggu openly cursed. You seize our dependent state and then speak of peace. I, Shanggu, will fight. Zhao Tong and Zhao Kuo even drew swords in support. Kai Juju returned in embarrassment. King Zhuang was angered and sent Li Bo alone in a chariot to challenge them. Li Bo shot down a sentry with one arrow and captured another alive. Jin troops pursued from 3 directions. He shot horses on one side and men on the other, halting the chase. His final arrow was aimed at Bao Gi, but he changed course and shot a deer instead, leaving it as a gift for his pursuers before riding off. The Jin general Wei Qi was not convinced and asked to challenge alone as well. Shen Linfu instructed him to go under the pretext of peace talks. When Wei Qi reached the Chu camp, he deliberately provoked them. Shu troops gave chase. Wei Qi shot a deer and left it behind, claiming it was a return gift. Back in camp, he falsely reported that Chu refused peace. Zhao Zhan was even bolder. He entered the Chu camp at night to learn the password, but was discovered and fled in panic. King Zhuang personally pursued him. As he gave chase, dust rose in the north. Pan Dang mistook it for the arrival of Jin's main force, and the king hesitated for a moment.
Sun Shuo arrived and said, I do not know whether Jin's army has arrived. I feared only that your majesty might ride into danger, so I came to protect you. The art of war says, better to press the enemy than be pressed. Since all our generals are assembled, we should strike Jin's central army first. King Zhuang decided at once. He ordered the left and right wings to attack Jin's flanks, while he himself led the central army straight toward Sun Linfu's main camp and personally beat the war drums. The Jin army was unprepared. The Chu forces came like a landslide and tidal wave. Jin troops hastily formed ranks, but confusion spread. As Zun Linfu tried to direct his men, Chu soldiers flooded into the camp. Zhang Fuji captured Zunshou. The various divisions collapsed. Feng Bo and his 2 sons fled together in one chariot. Zhao Zhan, wounded in the foot, chased after them, begging to climb aboard. Feng Bo ordered one son to yield his place. Zhao Zhan escaped, but the 2 sons died in the chaos. Jin Linfu and Hanju fled with the remnants along the river. Shanggu was struck in the head by an arrow, blood streaming down his face. Linfu said coldly, so this is what comes of daring battle. At the Yellow River crossing, Zhao Ku arrived and complained that Zhao Yingqi had prepared boats earlier and crossed without informing the others. Linfu sighed. At the edge of life and death, who can think of such matters? Boats were few. The shattered troops crowded forward in panic. Linfu beat the drum and shouted, those who cross first will be rewarded. Soldiers scrambled. Boats capsized. Men fell into the water. Shanggu, standing on a boat, shouted angrily, any man who grabs the boat again will lose his hand. Other boats followed suit. Blades flashed. Hands were cut off. Severed fingers covered the decks. Cries filled the air. The river turned red. Jin suffered a crushing defeat. The scene was one of utter devastation. Soon more dust rose in the distance. Another group of defeated Jin generals came rushing in. Sun Shou, Zhao Tong, Wei Qi, Feng Bo, Bao Gi, and the rest. Each of them was in a miserable state, scrambling toward the riverbank with the others. Sun Shou had already boarded a boat when he realized his son Sun Ying was nowhere to be seen. He immediately sent men ashore to call out for him. A soldier ran back and reported, the young general has been captured by Chu troops. Sun Shou's face darkened. He jumped off the boat at once. If my son does not return, I will not go back alone. If they can seize another man's son, I can seize someone else's and trade for mine. Sun Linfu tried to stop him. Your son is in the Chu camp. You cannot get him back by rushing in. Sun Shou clenched his teeth. Trying is better than leaving without doing anything. Wei Qi was close to Sun Ying and volunteered immediately to go with him.
Sun Shou gathered several hundred of his family troops, because he had always treated his soldiers kindly. When word spread along the riverbank that Minister Sun is going to the Chu camp to rescue the young general, not a single man held back. Even those already on boats jumped ashore to follow him. Their spirit was fiercer than when they had first marched out. Sun Shou charged toward the Chu lines with bow in hand. By chance he ran into the veteran general, Lian Yin Shanglao, who was collecting chariots and weapons abandoned by Jin. Shanglao was completely unprepared. Sun Shou loosed an arrow that pierced through his cheek. Shanglao collapsed in his chariot. Prince Guchen drove up to rescue him. Wei Qi met him head-on in fierce combat. Sun Shou aimed and shot again, striking Guchen in the right wrist. As Guchen pulled the arrow out in pain, Wei Qi seized the chance and captured him alive, dragging away Shanglao's body as well. Sun Shou embraced his two hard prizes. "This is enough to exchange for my son. The Chu army is too strong, we cannot stay." He turned and fled back with his men.
Only then did the Chu troops react, but it was too late to catch them. Meanwhile, Prince Duke Hui of Qi attacked the Jin upper army. Shi Hui had prepared early and received news first. He formed his ranks steadily and fought while retreating. Duke Hui pursued to the foot of Mount Ao. Suddenly, cannon fire thundered and an ambush force burst out. From a chariot, a general shouted, "Shu is here. I have waited long enough." Duke Hui was startled. Gong Shu fought more than 20 rounds but did not press. He shielded Shi Hui and withdrew gradually. Duke Hui kept chasing. A second blast sounded and Han Chuan arrived. Kai Juju drove out to engage. From a valley came a third blast. Banners filled the sky as Shi Qi advanced with fresh troops. Duke Hui saw he was surrounded on all sides and feared a trap. He ordered the drums to signal retreat. Shi Hui counted his men. Astonishingly, there were no major losses. He fortified 7 small camps along Mount Ao like a chain of 7 stars. The Chu army did not dare press close. Only after Chu withdrew completely did Shi Hui lead his army back home. At the river crossing, the chaos was worse. After Zun Shu returned, Zun Linfu's troops had not yet finished crossing. He was deeply uneasy. Fortunately, Zhao Yingqi had already reached the north bank and sent empty boats back to ferry others. Night fell. Chu troops pursued as far as Bai City. Wu Shen urged King Zhong to press the attack, but the king replied, "This victory washes away the old humiliation at Chengpu. Jin and Shu will one day make peace again. Why kill more?" He ordered the army to camp and not pursue. The Jin army crossed through the night, shouting and shoving in confusion until dawn. Later historians judged Zun Linfu harshly. He lacked the foresight to judge the enemy and the authority to command his troops. He wavered between advance and retreat, and thus suffered this crushing defeat. The sharp edge of the central plains was almost swept away by Chu in a single stroke. After the victory, Duke Shang of Jing hurried to Bi to reward the Chu troops and escorted King Zhuang to Hengyong, allowing him to stay in the royal palace and hold a grand celebration feast. Pandang proposed piling up the bodies of Jin soldiers into a mound of skulls to display martial glory. King Zhuang refused. "Jin has not committed crimes worthy of annihilation. I won by fortune. What merit is there to boast of?" He ordered the bodies buried with proper rites, offered sacrifice to the river god, and returned triumphantly to Chu. In rewarding merit, Wu Shun was granted the rank of Grand Officer for his council. Sun Shu Ao, however, sighed. The great victory over Jin came from the words of a favored courtier, "I am ashamed." His worry turned into illness, and he fell gravely sick. When the shattered Jin troops returned home, Duke Jing was furious and wanted to execute Sun Linfu. The ministers pleaded desperately. This defeat was caused by Xianggu's deliberate disobedience of orders. Execute Xianggu as warning. Linfu is an old servant of the former duke. Spare him and see if he redeems himself. Duke Jing agreed. Xianggu was executed. Sun Linfu was restored to office, and the 6 high ministers were ordered to rebuild the army and prepare for future revenge. Soon Sun Shu Ao grew critically ill. On his deathbed, he told his son Sun An, "After I die, present my memorial to the king. If he offers you office, refuse. If he offers a large fief, refuse. If you cannot decline, ask only for Qingqiu. It is barren land, but enough for our descendants to survive." With these words, he passed away. Sun An delivered the memorial. King Zhuang read it and sighed. "Even in death, Sun Shu Ao thinks only of the state. Heaven has taken my good minister." He personally attended the funeral and wept over the coffin. The next day, he appointed Prince Yin Qi as chief minister and Wei Ping as Zanyin. He offered office to Sun An, but Sun An firmly refused and returned to farming.
At this time, the king's favorite entertainer Yu Meng saw Sun An carrying firewood home himself and asked why.
Sun Zhai replied, "My father served as minister for years but left no wealth." Yu Meng sighed. "Wait, the king will summon you soon." Back at court, Yu Meng dressed in Sun Shuao's old clothes and imitated his speech and manner. At a banquet, he performed as though Sun Shuao had returned. The king was shocked and cried out his name. Yu Meng answered that he was not truly Sun Shuao, only resembling him. The king even said he would appoint him chief minister. Yu Meng pretended to consult his wife and then returned to sing a rustic song. Line by line, it struck home. Corrupt officials leave rich descendants. Honest officials leave poverty. Sun Shuao achieved great merit yet left an empty house. Why should anyone follow his example? The king listened with tears in his eyes. How could I forget his merit? He ordered Sun An summoned at once. Sun An entered in worn clothes and straw sandals. The king offered him a fief of 10,000 households. Sun An refused desperately and asked only for Qingqiu. The king said, "Qingqiu is barren. What benefit is there?" Sun An replied, "My father commanded it. I dare not disobey." The king granted it. Because Qingqiu was poor and unappealing, no one contested it. The Sun family kept it for generations. Meanwhile in Jin, Sun Linfu heard that Sun Shuao had died and judged that Chu would not soon turn north again. He requested to attack Zheng. After plundering the outskirts, he withdrew proudly. Some generals wished to besiege the city, but Lin Fu said, "A siege may fail. If Chu comes to rescue, we invite disaster. Let Zheng fear us and choose whether to seek Jin or Chu." Duke Zhong of Zheng indeed grew anxious. He sent envoys to Chu seeking advice and proposed exchanging his brother Prince Zhong for Prince Kuji, who was still held as hostage. King Zhuang replied, "If Zheng keeps its word, what need is there for hostages?" He released both Prince Zhong and Prince Kuji and summoned his ministers to deliberate Zheng's future once more. King Zhuang of Chu summoned all his ministers to discuss how to contain Jin. Prince Si spoke first. "Among the states close to us, only Qi stands firm. The state most loyal to Jin is Song. If we attack Song, Jin will be busy rescuing it. How can it still compete with us over Zheng?" The king frowned. "The idea is sound, but I lack a proper cause. Song has behaved cautiously these years. It has given me no excuse." Prince Ying Qi added, "An excuse is not hard to find. Send an envoy to Qi to return courtesy gifts, and deliberately pass through Song without proper transit papers. Let us see how Song reacts. If they dare to obstruct or harm our envoy, we will have our reason." The king asked, "Who will go?" Ying Qi answered, "Shen Wuwei can go." Shen Wuwei refused. "At the conference at Jumo, I once killed a servant of the Song ruler. Song hates me. Without transit documents, they will surely kill me." The king said, "Then change your name to Shen Zhou." Shen Wuwei shook his head. "A name can change. My face cannot." The king grew angry. "If you are killed, I will destroy Song to avenge you." Only then did Shen Zhou accept. Before departing, he brought his son Shen Shi into the palace to bid farewell. "This journey will likely end with my death in Song. I ask only that your majesty care for my son." After leaving the city, he told Shen Shi again, "I will surely die. You must ask the king of Chu to avenge me." As expected, when Shen Zhou reached the Suizhou Pass near Suiyang, officials stopped him and demanded transit papers. He said he had documents for travel to Qi but none for crossing Song. He was detained and reported to Duke Wen of Song. Hua Yuan, who held power in Song, said through clenched teeth, "An envoy of Chu ignores the rights of transit. This is intolerable. Execute him." The Duke of Song feared Chu's retaliation, but Hua Yuan insisted. To endure insult is more shameful than to face attack. Chu already intends aggression. Let us take this chance to wipe away old humiliation. Shen Zhou was brought before the court. Hua Yuan recognized him as Shen Wuwei and grew angrier. "You killed a servant of our former ruler. Now you change your name to escape death." Shen Zhou knew he would not survive. He cursed the ruler of Song. "You commit crimes and still live. Now you kill the envoy of a great state. When the Chu army arrives, you and your ministers will be ground to dust." Hua Yuan ordered his tongue cut out, then executed him. The gifts and documents meant for Qi were burned. His attendants fled in terror and returned to Chu with the news. King Zhuang was eating when he heard Shen Zhou had been killed. He threw down his chopsticks and rose. "Prepare for war." Prince Si was appointed commander, Shen Shushi deputy. The king personally led the campaign against Dong,
with Shen Shi serving as military officer. Zhou died in the 4th month. By the 9th month, Chu troops were already pressing into Song territory with remarkable speed. The Chu army surrounded Suiyang. Siege towers were built as high as the city walls. Fierce assaults came from all sides. Hua Yuan defended the city while secretly sending Li Yingqi to Jin for help. Duke Jing of Jin wished to dispatch troops, but Bozong advised caution. We were defeated at Bai not long ago. Rescuing Song may fail. Chu's army has marched 2,000 li. Their supplies cannot last long. Better to send an envoy into Song to say Jin has raised troops and urge them to hold fast for several months. Chu will withdraw on its own. We gain the name of rescue without risking battle. Zhiyang volunteered to go. But outside Song he was captured by Chu scouts and brought before King Zhong. The king recognized him and smiled coldly. At Bailin you were once captured by me and released. Now you return? Zhiyang replied firmly. Jin and Chu are enemies. If you kill me, it is only right. The king read the documents he carried and changed his tone. When you enter the city, tell them Jin is in internal turmoil and cannot send aid. Urge them to surrender. I will make you a county lord in Chu. Refuse and you die. Zhiyang nodded for the moment.
King Zhuang had him lifted onto a siege tower to shout toward the city. Zhiyang instead cried out, I am Zhiyang, envoy of Jin. The Chu army forces me to urge surrender. Do not believe it. The Duke of Jin personally leads a great army to rescue you. They will arrive soon. The king was furious and ordered him executed. Zhiyang said calmly, If I keep faith with Chu, I betray Jin. If you admire those who betray their lords for gain, that is true faithlessness. Kill me if you wish. Let the world see how Chu practices loyalty. Agree, and Song will remain loyal to Qi forever. Refuse, and tonight we both die. He showed a dagger. Prince Si replied quickly, No need for violence, let us speak. Hua Yuan described Song's misery truthfully. Prince Si asked why he spoke so plainly. Hua Yuan answered, A gentleman pities another's distress, a petty man profits from it. You are a gentleman, I dare not deceive you. He continued, The people would rather perish with the city than surrender. Withdraw 30 li, and Song will become your dependent state, never turning elsewhere. Prince Si sighed, I will also speak plainly. Our army has only 7 days of grain. The farming display is meant to frighten you. Tomorrow I will advise the king to withdraw 30 li. Do not break faith. They swore an oath, and even became sworn brothers. Prince Si gave Hua Yuan a token to pass back through the lines. The next morning, Prince Si told King Zhuang everything. At first, the king considered attacking while Song was weak. Prince Si admitted he had revealed the truth about Qi's limited supplies. The king was furious. Why reveal our weakness to the enemy? Prince Si replied, Even a small state like Song has ministers who do not deceive. How can great Qi rely on deceit? The king's anger faded. You are right. He ordered the army to withdraw 30 li. Hua Yuan then came to conclude a formal treaty. Prince Si entered the city and swore alliance with Duke Wen of Song. Song sent Zhou's coffin to the Chu camp. Hua Yuan remained in Qiu as hostage. King Zhuan returned home, buried Zhou with honor, and granted Chen Shi the rank of Grand Officer. While Hua Yuan stayed in Qiu, he befriended Prince Yingqi. Yingqi sighed, If Jin and Chu keep fighting like this, when will the world know peace? Hua Yuan replied, Jin and Chu are evenly matched. If someone could reconcile the two, bring the lords under one understanding, and end war, that would be a blessing for all. Yingqi asked, Can you accomplish this? Hua Yuan said, I am on good terms with the Jin general Luan Shu. I have spoken of it before. What we lack is someone to take the lead. The next day, Prince Yingqi repeated Hua Yuan's idea to Prince Si, the part about reconciling Jin and Chu so the world could finally rest from war. Prince Si shook his head. The two states have not fought enough yet. This is too big a matter. We cannot bring it up lightly right now. Hua Yuan remained in Chu as a hostage for 6 full years. In the 18th year of Kingdom of Zhou, Duke Wen of Song died and his son Duke Gong succeeded him. Only then was Hua Yuan allowed to return home to mourn. On the Jin side, Duke Jing heard that Chu had besieged Song for nearly a year without being forced to lift the siege. He grew anxious and said to Bozong, The people of Song are close to breaking. I cannot lose faith with them. I must send troops to rescue them. He was about to mobilize when someone rushed in with news. The state of Lu has sent a secret letter. Lu was a branch of the Red Di. Its ruler was called Ying'er, and he had married Duke Jing of Jing's younger sister, Lady Boji. Ying was weak, and the chief minister Feng Shu controlled the government. Earlier, when Hu Shigu had fled to Lu, Feng Shu did not dare act too wildly. After Hu Shigu died, Feng Shu became unchecked. He forced Lu to sever ties with Jin, framed Lady Boji, and compelled Ying to strangle her to death. Later, on a hunting trip outside the city, Feng Shu got drunk and played a game of flicking pellets for fun. He flicked one into the ruler's eye and even laughed, saying, "Not accurate enough. 1 cup of penalty wine." Ying could not endure it, yet he had no power to remove Feng Shu. He wrote in secret to Jin begging for rescue. Bozong urged Duke Jing at once. Kill Feng Shu, annex Lu, then pacify the surrounding area. The red dye lands can be absorbed. Territory, manpower, and tax revenue will all increase. Do not waste this chance. Duke Jing was already angry that Ying could not protect Boji. He appointed Sun Linfu as commander, with Wei Qi as deputy, and sent 300 chariots to attack Lu. Feng Shu fought at Kuliang, lost, and fled to the state of Wei. Duke Mu of Wei was friendly with Jin and sent Feng Shu back in a prison cart. Sun Linfu executed Feng Shu at Jiang. Then the Jing army marched straight into the Lu capital. Ying came out to greet them at his horse's bridle. Zhong Linfu denounced him to his face for the death of Boji and seized him as well. Jing claimed that the people of Li missed their old ruler. They found descendants of the Marquis of Li, assigned 500 households to build a city, and declared the restoration of Li. In truth, it was the extinction of Lu. Seeing his state destroyed, Ying cut his own throat. The people of Lu later built a shrine to honor him. Duke Jing feared Sun Linfu might not manage things and personally led the main army to camp at Jishan. Sun Linfu returned to Jishan to report victory and left Wei Qi to hold the Red Dye territory for the time being. Wei Qi reached Fuxi Marsh when dust suddenly blotted out the sky and the roar of battle shook the ground. The vanguard reported Chen had sent Duke Hui with troops. Chen had already courted Feng Shu with lavish gifts, hoping to use him to compete with Jin for Lu territory. When Duke Hui of Qi heard that Zheng had executed Feng Shu and seized the ruler of Lu, he dispatched Duke Hui to seize the land. Duke Hui was a famous brute in Qin, absurdly strong. He carried a massive axe said to weigh 120 jin. He did not ride in chariot or on horseback. He led 300 death fighters with blades and axes and charged straight into the ranks, hacking down horses' legs below and splitting soldiers above. Jin troops had never seen such fighting. They were smashed into a rout. Wei Qi had no choice but to withdraw into a fortified camp and hold. Du Hui stood outside the camp, shouting insults and challenging them for 3 days straight. Wei Qi did not dare answer. At this time, Wei Qi's younger brother Wei Qi arrived with troops. Duke Jing had feared the Red D might ally with Qin and cause trouble, so he sent reinforcements. Wei Qi described Du Hui's ferocity and was about to request more men, but Wei Qi did not believe him. What can a bandit do? Tomorrow I will fight and win. The next day, Du Hui challenged again. Wei Qi, furious, went out to engage. At first, the Qin troops pretended to scatter and flee. Wei Qi drove out to pursue in different directions. Suddenly, a sharp whistle sounded. The 300 killers regrouped, turned back with Du Hui, and charged. The great axe rose and fell in chaos. Wei Qi was cut down and beaten badly. Only because Wei Qi brought troops to cover him did they retreat into camp. That night, Wei Qi could not sleep. Half dreaming, he heard someone repeatedly whispering 3 words beside his ear: green grass slope. He heard it twice and woke, confused. Wei Qi said, 10 li to the left of Fuxi there is a large slope called Green Grass Slope. We can set an ambush there. You lure him in, and we strike from 2 sides. Wei Qi broke camp at once and spread word that he would return to Li City. Du Hui pursued exactly as expected. Wei Qi exchanged a few blows, then turned and fled, drawing Du Hui all the way to Green Grass Slope. Suddenly, cannon fire sounded. Wei Qi's ambushed troops rose on all sides. Wei Qi also turned his chariot back and attacked. Du Hui was caught between 2 forces, yet Du Hui showed no fear. He swung his axe in wide arcs. Whoever it touched died.
Jin troops still could not bring him down. As the fight reached the middle of the slope, Duke Hui suddenly slipped, as if he had stepped on ice and could not keep his footing.
Wei Ke looked up and saw, in the distance, an old man in cloth robe and straw sandals, like a farmer. He was tying bundles of grass into knots and throwing them onto the road, deliberately catching Du Hui's feet. Du Hui staggered. The two-way chariots surged forward, and two halberds thrust him down. He was captured alive. Seeing their commander taken, Du Hui's 300 killers fled in all directions. Very few escaped. Wei Ke asked Du Hui, "Were you not boasting of your strength? How did you fall?" Du Hui clenched his teeth. "Something seemed to trip my feet. Heaven meant to end me. It is not that I lacked strength." Wei Ke fears such a fierce man would be a future disaster. He executed Du Hui on the spot and carried the head to Jishan to claim merit. That night, Wei Ke slept soundly. In a dream, the old man from the battlefield came and bowed. "Do you know how Du Hui was captured? I tied grass knots to trip his feet." Wei Ke was shocked. "Elder, I do not know you. Why did you help me?" The old man replied, "I am the father of Zhu Ji. You did not follow your father's confused final words and force Zhu Ji to be buried with him. You followed what he said when he was clear-minded and married her to a good family. You saved her life. In the underworld, I am grateful and came to help you gain merit. Your descendants will be wealthy and honored. Do not forget this cause and effect." It turned out Wei Ke's father, Wei Chou, had once instructed that if he died in war, his beloved concubine Su Ji should be married well. But when he was gravely ill near death, he changed his words and demanded she be buried with him. When Wei Qi arranged the funeral, he did not allow Zhu Ji to die. Wei Qi had criticized him for disobeying the final command. Wei Qi answered only, "What a man says when clear-minded should be obeyed. What he says when confused should not." He then married Zhu Ji to a worthy man. Because of that hidden virtue, the repayment of knotted grass came to pass. Wei Qi told the dream to Wei Qi, and Wei Qi could only sigh. With Du Hui executed, the Qin army retreated back toward Yangzhou. Duke Wen of Qi heard his great general had died, and the court fell into despair. Duke Jing of Jing was delighted. He rewarded Wei Ke heavily and granted him the land of Linghu. He also ordered a great bronze cauldron cast with the story of capturing Du Hui at Green Grass Slope engraved upon it, including the year and month. Later generations, because it was made under Duke Jing, called it the Jing Bell. After this, Jing sent Shi Hui to campaign against another branch of the Red Dai, destroying Jiaxi and Liuxu, and also Duochen, a dependent state of Liuxu. From that point on, all Red Dai lands fell under Jin. But after the wars, famine struck Jin itself. The people suffered, and bandits rose everywhere. Song Linfu anxiously searched for someone who could recognize thieves, and found a man of the Shi clan named Shi Yong. Shi Yong claimed that with one glance, he could tell a thief. Once in the marketplace, he suddenly pointed at someone and said, "That man is a robber." The crowd seized the man and interrogated him, and it proved true. Sun Linfu asked, "How did you know?" Shi Yong replied, "I watched his eyes and brows. When he saw goods, greed showed. When he saw people, shame showed. When he heard I had arrived, fear showed. That is how I knew." It sounded convincing. So Shi Yong patrolled daily and could arrest dozens of thieves in a single day. Yet something strange happened. The people became more afraid of him. The streets felt unsafe, and the thieves did not decrease. They increased. The guerrilla officer Yang Shuizi saw this and said to Xiong Linfu, "The commander has sent Xi Yong to catch thieves. The thieves will not be fully caught, but Xi Yong's death is already near." Xiong Linfu was startled. "What do you mean? What did Yang Shuizi mean by those words? Did he mean Xi Yong was too sharp and exposed, making too many enemies, and would be killed in revenge? Or did he mean that governing banditry with suspicion only forces more people into banditry? Or was the true problem not bandits at all, but famine in the hearts of the people? When a state wages war year after year, when livelihoods are ruined, can peace really be bought by arrests, executions, and intimidation? Is Xi Yong's talent a remedy for disorder, or the start of a new poison? Where will Jin's situation go next?
And will Xiong's end fulfill Yang Sheji's grim prediction? We will continue in the next episode.
The sky in light, Nua healed the broken heart. Fuxi traced the world's design. Every age leaves stories bright. Yaya dynasty shaped bronze. Shang dynasty cast oracle bones. Thou dynasty built right. Qin dynasty forged the great walls. Han dynasty opened Silk Road winds. Three Kingdoms dynasty turned war to tales. Chen dynasty led ink and mountains bloom. Sui dynasty carved the Grand Canal. Tang dynasty crowned the world with art. Song dynasty raised learning's flame. Yun dynasty swept the northern plains. Ming dynasty strengthened walls again. Qing dynasty closed an ancient end. Every age leaves stories bright. History and myth ignite in endless light. China's history moves in mystery through the night. Footsteps of this land enchant the world in light. Han dynasty opened Silk Road winds. Three Kingdoms dynasty turned war to tales. Qin dynasty led ink and mountains bloom. Sui dynasty carved the Grand Canal. Tang dynasty crowned the world with art. Song dynasty raised learning.